Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Streaming December 12th on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back
That's hot. Loves it.
for a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back. Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special, streaming December 12th, only on Peacock.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lessons about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Hang Out. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Lee Holmes Foster, and here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. And this week, I just want to let you all know that we are starting our crowdfunding campaign for Journey to the Heart next Tuesday. It is coming up so soon. If you want to join, you can go to bit.ly/support Journey to the Heart, and you can put your email in so you'll be the first to know when we launch. We're really hoping that the first day of the crowdfunding campaign, we can have a huge push and hit $10,000 on our goal. So it's really important that you all are there at the first second that it comes up so we can really have a successful first day. Also, in some personal news, this is a shameless plug, but I just got my real estate license in Boston. So if you know anyone who wants to buy, rent, or sell in the greater Boston area, have them email me at ellie@galvingroup.com. I'm really excited about this new career endeavor, and any referrals are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. I would love to be connected with more queer clients as well, so I can hang out with you while we help you find a place. In the greater Les universe, Disney has been getting a lot of shit lately for their response to Don't Say Gay, so some of the employees from Pixar pushed even harder on Disney to include a lesbian kiss in the new film Lightyear. So Hawthorne is the character who's played by Uzo Aduba, and Disney employees have been talking about how they've been pushing for years to get LGBTQ rep in Disney films, which we all know because we have seen it in the Should Have Been Gays. So thank you, Disney employees. And they're constantly thwarted by some of the higher ups. So we're not surprised by that, but it is exciting to see that they are going to be including a lesbian kiss that was originally cut in the new film Lightyear. So let's all make sure we are supporting that so that Disney will give us more gay shit. The New York Post also says dressing like a lesbian is a new trend, which is hilarious because all of the pictures are just women in pantsuits. So if pantsuits are gay, they're gay. Also, please keep dressing like lesbians. We love it. Speaking of the New York Post, there's an article in the New York Times, very different publication, that says new lesbian bars are popping up all over, which is a really exciting change and a shift in the trends because obviously we have talked many times before about lesbian bars dwindling in the United States. Now there's this new resurgence of new lesbian bars trying to make it. So you have Dave's in New York, you have Hot Donna's Clubhouse in LA, and As You Are Bar in DC. So it's really exciting to see that the tides are maybe shifting a bit and there's some new spaces popping up to replace the spaces that have closed. So make sure you're supporting all of those spaces. We're really excited to see how that pans out, and we hope and we wish all of those spaces the most success in the world. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee. Thanks, Ellie and Lee, and welcome to our 80th installment of Should Have Been Gay.
Oh, it was fun, it was great, but it should have been a little more gay.
And in this week's episode, no time for losers, 'cause we are the champions. Ba-da-da, of the
Of the
world.
See, I feel like this is a very niche film, so no one will.
No one's gonna get that, but
no
I
one will
enjoyed it.
get that reference at all. But here we are.
But you think I was gonna pass up the chance for some Queen?
No,
Not
at
even
all.
a little.
Not at all. So today we're talking about a film called You Again. I think we mentioned it in a few weeks ago's episode because somebody had recommended it to us. And you know what? We were like, screw it. I guess we're doing it. We're going. We're diving in.
We were sucked in by the cast.
The
right?
cast, yeah.
Like, we
Kristen
looked at
Bell,
that cast
Sigourney
list
Weaver,
and said, sold.
Betty freaking White,
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yes.
Victor Garber.
Incredible.
Like, all through.
Sold at every turn.
It's just Kristen Chenoweth. It's
just
hit after
I mean,
hit after
listen,
hit.
it's a great cast.
Incredible cast.
Terrible
and
movie.
horrible film. Sorry to anyone who
It's a
recommended
terrible
this.
movie.
And if you liked it, I'm so sorry. But yeah, this is going to be one of the times that Lee and I agree wholeheartedly about how horrible film
I'm so
is, I
glad.
think.
I'm so glad. Listen, and all the love to whoever recommended this for us because we do have a lot of thoughts about it.
It is very gay. It is very gay. Just like would never watch it again and definitely need to change some things. So let's dive into our IMDb synopsis so we can dig more into our experience.
For anyone, hopefully many of you who have not seen this movie, here's the IMDb synopsis. When a young woman realizes her brother is about to marry the girl who bullied her in high school, she sets out to expose the fiancé's true colors.
I mean, to be fair, that is a valid synopsis of what happens in this film. Yeah.
What would your gay synopsis be, Ellie?
So my gay synopsis is actually not really about Kristen Bell at all. It's about Sigourney Weaver and
Ooh, I love it.
and Jamie Lee Curtis. So that awkward moment when your high school ex-girlfriend shows up to your son's wedding and you have to deal with some feelings and then finally make up in a swimming pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what I saw. That was the film that I watched.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, my gay synopsis, I went with a multi-layered Faberry AU fic that just doesn't quite go all the way.
Correct.
It's like multiple of them layered on top of each other, like an onion. It's like an onion of Faberry AU fics. Multi-generational
gay trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that just somehow doesn't go there.
That never climaxes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sure doesn't.
It sure does
but
not.
This is the blue balls of should have been gay right now.
So that's why I feel like in terms of how I'm dealing with this should have been gay, like I'm going what would have made this film number one, an actual good film, and number two, a good gay film.
Let's start a little bit. Give us your experience with the movie. And God, I don't even know which one I want to dive into first.
There's
let's
so many.
Start with, let's start with what would have made this a better movie. Like, tell me your experience and tell me what was wrong with the movie.
Okay,
in your
yes.
estimation. We'll start there. Let's just shit on it first, right out the gate. Okay.
Yeah, let's just go there. Okay, so my experience with this film is I had never seen it. This week we were like, you know what? It's always when it's the two of us. It's like, okay, let's pick a movie, something quick and easy we can watch. And we were like, okay, let's try You Again. We watched it. I watched it 2 days ago. And I just did not like it. I just feel like, okay, here's what could have made it better. Number one, writing. None of the jokes landed. Like, I found very little funny about this film.
Yeah.
And mostly traumatizing. Like, the whole like point of the film is supposed to be that Joanna, who is Marnie's bully in high school, is that she has this whole redemption arc. And then Marnie comes back and is like, oh no, you're still a bad person, and ignores all of Joanna's redemption arc. But the thing that makes it horrible is that Marnie's right.
Yeah.
Joanna's still a horrible person. And then they
drags Marnie down with her.
Yeah, and then they pretend like Joanna has made this huge transformation, and they try to like shoehorn you into being like, "Ah, Joanna." So when like she has proved nothing of the sort.
Yeah.
that just, I don't see any redemption arc there.
The writing, here's my problem with a lot of the writing of this movie. I have two main problems with the writing of this movie. The first of them is I don't think this movie ever decided what it wanted to be.
Yes.
Right? It's a little bit of a character piece with the storyline of Joanna was terrible, then her parents died and she wants to be better, and now she's being better, but Marnie's not giving her a chance to be better because she bullied her. There's like that side. Then there's the Adam Sandler, like Ben Stiller side of the movie that's like the comedy of errors, where Marnie came home and she's hot and successful now, but she keeps messing up and has to get her hair cut back into bangs and get stung by ants for why?
For
who
no
knows?
reason.
For no reason other than to traumatize, like re-traumatize this woman in adulthood. But in ways that don't do anything for the plot, really.
No.
And so it felt like they just threw that in there too. Like there were too many competing movies for me happening, and so it didn't do any of them well. My other main problem with this movie, can you guess what it is, Ellie? Do you know what my problem with the writing of this movie is?
Any sort of chemistry?
Well, there's that. More fundamentally, this movie was written by a man, directed by a man, but what you're basically getting is this, what is supposed to be this deep dive into the psychology of
women,
female
like,
teenage friendship, relationship, high school.
Sense.
No, but it's all. You know what this movie reminded me of?
I'm not surprised that a man wrote this. Now that you've said that,
it's the first thing I looked up. It's the first thing I looked up when I finished.
This makes no sense. Like, this is not how women act towards each other.
This movie is the high school drama relationship between girls equivalent of when guys are like, girls go to sleepovers and have pillow fights in their negligees and make out with each other. It's that, but done to like female fighting, like female feuding relationships, right? Where you're just like, I don't think you actually understand what that relationship would look like, what would be driving it, what would be underneath it, what that reunion would have looked like. It just kind of felt like somebody just inventing this fantasy of female psyches, you know?
It feels like a man heard a friend at a dinner party talk about a friend that she used to have in high school, that they had a big falling out and now they're not friends anymore. And he was like, oh, great film idea.
Great idea.
I'll
make it multi-generational.
Yeah. Okay, that makes so much sense. Because to be fair, if we're going to dive into what would have made this film better in a gay sense, like a kernel of that is true. And that's where this movie is very gay. Is that the kernel of that is that there are very intense relationships between these women.
Correct.
Right? And so if you had actually fleshed it out so I believed that the connection between Marnie and Joanna was real, then I would have seen it as more of like a gay thing. Like, I feel like that's why Gail and Ramona, I think, were a bit more believable. And I just really feel like that's because, like, I guess they're older. And so the actors, I think, like, were given a little more to play with. So I feel like Sigourney Weaver and Jamie Lee Curtis, like, gave us more depth than was in the writing.
Yeah.
So
they were fun in this. I'm so disappointed at how much I still enjoyed their storyline, because I feel like we should give some context, given that I'm really hoping that people should not have watched this movie. But it is like a multi-generational thing, right? So you have Marnie, who is Kristen Bell, who was bullied in high school by Joanna, who is played by Odette Annable, who some people might know from Supergirl. I think she played Sam in Supergirl. So they have this relationship of Joanna was the bully, Marnie was the like high school loser who just, you know, kind of was endlessly tormented by this girl. She comes home for her brother's wedding, which it's again another thing where I'm just like, who wrote this movie that you show up the day, like 2 days,
3 days before to meet
your brother's
the
wedding,
fiance, like,
and you've never met her, B heard
Seen a
anything
picture?
about her life. She says he sent her a picture, and she goes, I didn't recognize her as anyone I went to high school with because her name was Joanna, and I didn't go to high school with a Joanna. And I'm like, I'm sorry, name a person who would not be able to immediately identify even just someone you went to high school with, let alone like your primary tormentor for 4 years. You see a picture of them in 10 years and you're not even going to recognize them.
And she looks exactly the same because this film was
Yes.
filmed in a year. There's nothing different about her.
And
Her hair's
they
the same. Her
They
face
used
is
the
the
same
same.
actresses. Like, they just tried to age down Kristen Bell and Edible to play
Yeah.
their high school counterparts. I'm like, you're trying to tell me that you didn't recognize the same person in a different top? Like, what?
Yeah, like literal exactly the same.
Come on. Insane.
Exactly the same.
So the whole setup of it is already on thin ice right from the
Yes.
get-go, right? So she comes back home and she's there to meet the fiance, and oh no, it's Joanna,
her
who
JJ,
was JJ
her
in
bully,
high
yeah.
school, who destroyed my life. Then Joanna's parents died after high school, and she reinvented herself, and that also means that the only family she has left is her Aunt Mona. And Aunt Mona shows up, and it is I want to live in this town.
It is Sigourney Weaver, though. Sigourney Weaver is fucking batshit in this.
Insane in this movie. She shows up. She is this high-powered, French-speaking, rich, hotel-owning, well-connected, I don't know what, who lives in this podunk town where there's apparently 4 families in the entire
No, I don't think
town.
she lives there. She is coming back for the wedding.
She's just there for the wedding.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
what is this town? Why
Yeah.
what is wrong with everybody in Ridgefield? I don't understand what's happening.
I do not know.
Mona
Yes.
walks in and Gail's face drops with that drop that only ever happens when like someone
An
you
ex
fucked
walks
in
in.
high school
Yeah, yeah.
walks back
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
life to marry your son, or for their, niece to marry your son, and you're like, what is happening right now? That's the face that Gail makes, that Jamie Lee Curtis makes.
Oh yeah.
When she walks in that door, she's like, the last time I saw you weren't wearing clothing, right? That face.
That face. Yep. I have seen way too much of your body.
You were
and now you
naked
are here.
and breaking my heart.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So they have that relationship. Then we get in this very kind of tacked on third beat at the end that Grandma Bunny, who I also love, because how can you not
Because it's Betty
love
White.
Betty
Yeah.
White. I mean, it's impossible. So Grandma Bunny also meets, what is it?
Helen.
It's someone. Yeah, but who? So Helen, but who is Helen supposed to be? She's not related to them, right?
I think Helen might be Joanna's grandmother.
She calls her Mrs. Sullivan, so I can't tell.
Okay,
who
okay.
she's,
So maybe she's
I can't
just
tell
like
who
a,
she's supposed
a
to
guest
be
at the wedding. I don't know.
She's someone at the wedding that is there clearly for Joanna, and then Joanna turns around to introduce her to Grandma Bunny, and they have that
you
immediate
again moment.
spark.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, what is it with these two families, and why can they not stop boning each other?
Screwing each other, yeah.
Like, what is that?
It's not right.
What is happening? This is like a Fear Street legacy kind of film, that just is missing the interim stories where you're like, the families of women who cannot stop falling in love and breaking each other's hearts through time.
Yes.
It's weird. It's weird. This whole storyline with their two families is weird. There's never any explanation given for it. And if you are willing to buy into that, that's one thing.
Yes.
Right? But then, yeah, I agree. Like, you get into the meat of this thing, and the meat of this thing, listen, this is a movie that at its core is trying so hard to be a movie that is all about relationships
letting
between
go
women.
of the past too.
Oh,
right?
I
Yeah.
mean, sure, but I
Yes,
wasn't
relationships between women.
I just
And-
mean it's all about women. The men. The gayest thing about this movie is how little this movie cares about the men in it.
Oh yeah, complete. And like to the point where like Joanna, and the same thing with like Joanna and freaking whatever his name is. Who's the brother? Like Joanna's marrying the brother, and like their
Will.
Joanna
right?
and Will, and like their whole relationship.
Do you like how I don't even know? I'm not even positive that's
Yeah.
his name, because that's
But,
how
like,
little this movie cares that he exists.
their whole relationship is also so like surface level and fake that I'm like, what? You literally don't like. You just are like, you act like a fake couple in love.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's so cringy. And then Charlie, who's supposed to be Marnie's love interest, who, like, we barely see in the high school flashbacks as, like, she looked him in the eye once.
The long-standing flame that she has been carrying for this guy since high school, ostensibly, has to do with one time in a lunchroom when he walked into her lunch tray and she spilled her whole lunch on him. We're supposed to understand from that one scene in the flashback in the beginning that she
that's
has
her love.
feelings
That's her true
for
love.
Charlie.
Yeah.
I guess?
It
Question
is
mark?
insane and dumb. And
It's
pretty
so
much
crazy.
all of their conversations are them just looking at each other from a distance. And they have one conversation at the wedding, which is like the end
you're
of the
supposed
film.
you're supposed to intuit from the fact that she gets real awkward and hurts herself and everyone around her
him.
every time he walks in the room. That's how you're supposed to interpret her attraction to him, which again, for a movie that's written by a dude, it is just, there's something that I violently hate about the idea that that is what attraction looks like. Is, oh, as soon as this guy shows up, I just turn into a stuttering,
idiot.
Stumbling imbecile who can barely even walk on 2 feet at the age of 30, whatever. It's
unclear how old they
so
are either.
Bad. It's so bad how they play this, where just his presence, and then he swoops in as this charming, just saving the day by taking away sharp objects. Like, he's moving her utensils away from her
I just don't want
plate
you to stab
so
me
that
today.
oh my God.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. And the fact that that is what you're supposed to buy into as Kristen Bell's romance in this movie, and not the decade-long, passionate, emotional, simmering tension between her and Joanna, is insane. Is wild.
Idiotic. Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
Let's chat a little bit about how Marnie and Joanna are gay in the film, but then also how they could be gay.
Listen. Let's take Marnie. Can we start with Marnie?
Yes.
Let's take Marnie, who was just kind of awkward in high school and didn't really know how to be friends with other girls, and finally finds herself and is telling a whole room full of people that, like, it's not what happens to you in life that matters. It's like how you respond to it as a person. And she's got a cute little sweater vest on, and
she is working as like a high-powered PR executive. She's about to get a big job as a VP in New York City. And like, why do people leave small towns? Just saying. They leave small towns because they're gay as shit.
True.
Because they're gay as shit. Like, she's the only one out of everyone there who has left that small town besides Ramona. So her and Ramona, gay as shit, were like, we have to get out of this town because we do not fit in. And now she's going to move to New York City. Stereotypically, the straightest city in the world.
Yes, well-known fact about New York. Also, no boyfriend, no successful relationship that we've ever seen or heard a hint of on the wind.
No.
Also, can we discuss, so we have this scene where she's on the plane, right?
Yes.
She's on the plane when she puts 2 and 2 together about, oh, the picture that you sent me of the girl who bullied me in high school, that was the girl who bullied me in high school. So even if you ignore the of that and just buy into, you have just realized that your brother is marrying the girl who bullied you in high school, say you, a normal human person, made that discovery while sitting on an airplane seat. What might be your reaction, Ellie?
You're just saying, like, you'd freak out, but, like, not enough for the air marshal to come for you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like there is an emotional response happening.
Yeah. Visceral.
That feels too high.
Yes. Well,
right? Like, maybe a little too high.
I have a personal question for you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Were you ever bullied in high school?
I was not bullied as much as I think I was just mostly ignored by, like, the popular kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't mean in the way that Joanna's mean. Like, pointedly
I also
mean
just feel
in
like,
this movie.
I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. I obviously know that bullying is a thing that happens. I just feel like in movies they always make it like so not real looking. Like for me
Yeah.
in high school, and I guess this is also like different generations, right? But like cyberbullying was like a bigger thing, or like girls would bully you in like a very like underhanded manipulative way. Like I don't feel like girls were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, loser."
Yeah, like
Like
smacking you in the gator head
yeah, do you know what,
costume.
I don't know,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like I do feel like girls bully other girls, but like I feel like it's like so much more like
It's
manipulative.
underhanded. It's manipulative and underhanded more so. But again, I feel like that's the kind of thing that's not gonna it wouldn't play well in a movie to like indicate how much that's gonna wear down
guess.
at your
Or like
self-esteem.
Mean Girls, I feel like is the
Yeah.
epitome of like that. Mean Girls is how girls bully other girls.
Yes.
Mean Girls
Yes.
is exactly how girls bully other girls.
I
Like that is
I would give
accurate.
them a pass on the bullying. Of all of the things in this movie that I would most be willing to let fly, I would let the bullying fly because I get it. It's not most of what I would consider like realistic girls bullying girls in high school, I don't think would come across dramatic enough.
In the flashbacks that they were doing, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's why I'm like, Joanna's horrific as a human.
She's so
I'm like,
bad.
you cannot be bullying someone that horribly and like have
No.
any sort of whatever.
Well,
but
and
my
nor does
point
bullying
is,
ever look like the whole school body, like body surfing you out of a door and then locking you behind. Like, what is even happening in this
What
scene?
is
I don't
But-
understand it.
But I also am like, if I think about like someone in high school who like bullied me or was manipulative towards me, I would not freak out on the plane like that. But I do feel like there is like a very visceral reaction because you're just like to me, I can still remember this one person and I won't like whatever, but like I literally, even now, one of my friends is friends with her. And sometimes they're like, oh, can I invite her to this party? And I'm like, get her out. No, do not get her near me. So I I understand that like deep cut of the book. Like I understand why Marnie is freaking the fuck out. But to be fair, I feel like there's like some underlying feelings there of like she's freaking the fuck out, but like she also like has to get air marshaled because she's like screaming at everyone on this plane.
Okay, but listen, also it's occurring to me now that I'm like, I didn't have high school bullies. I definitely had grad school bullies, which is like a whole different experience when you're like out of college, and I'm just like, why are we being 12 about this? But the idea that if one of them suddenly was going to appear in my life, that I couldn't sit in a seat on an airplane and have an emotional reaction to it. I was just like, this feels a little over the top. But there was clearly, it was exy. Yes. That was the immediate, this is not 0 to 60. This is like 0 to 340 of, like, you have exploded out of your own brain at the idea of seeing this girl, and I'm like, that feels like a little much. That feels like a little bit of gay panic happening to me.
Oh yeah. And
right?
then she has
the plane scene was some gay panic.
She has this whole conversation with The Rock too, where it feels like so gossipy
of The Rock
of
cameo.
Like it really is like, so your brother's marrying your ex? She's like, ugh, I know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Sucks.
That is a perfect summation of that conversation.
Yeah.
And then she shows up, and again, listen, this was probably the most believable like bullying move. What is the deepest fucking cut that you could do?
Of nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. You just see her heart ripped out of her chest.
I also would say if this film was like legitimately a gay film, like not like, hey, let's read the subtext, like this was a gay film, they would have shown in the flashbacks that like Joanna and Marnie are like meeting behind the bleachers, and then in real life Joanna is bullying the shit out of Marnie because she doesn't want anyone to know she's gay with her, right? And so then she comes back and she's like, I don't even remember you, because she's so closeted. Like this is like Happiest Season again, right?
Yes.
Like she's so closeted. She's like, don't ruin this for me. Like, I'm finally marrying a man, and your brother was the closest thing I could get. So
God, Ellie, we could write such a good fucking movie about
I know.
this. Because
well,
listen,
that's why the
listen,
premise is so gay.
They-
Like, the premise is perfectly gay.
okay, the premise, the other thing that I'm so mad at them for, that they set up perfectly, that, listen, when we rewrite this into a gay movie, this piece is staying because it's right there. I'm like, how do you throw in the trope of there's only one bedroom? They're bunking together.
Yes, they're
and then it
sleeping
never
together, and they never
comes
show them.
up.
They never
It's
show
never
them in
a
They
thing.
never show them in that bedroom.
No, and
They
I'm
never
so
do.
mad about it. I'm so upset. Even if I know it wouldn't have gone where I want it to have gone, I'm like, how do you have that set up and you spend time on it? You take the time to show it and have the dialogue about it, and then you never use
show
it. You never use it. It's right there. I'm like, come on. You set them up. You tee it up with there's only one room. You have to share. You're bunking together, and then you jump from that setup to the scene where she walks downstairs and sees Joanna for the first time. Which, again, listen, who decided that you're like, oh, the first time you see your high school nemesis since she tormented you for years, you walk in and she's beautiful and she's sunlit, dappled in the window with a wind blowing her hair.
Yeah, it's
See, I'm like,
ridiculous.
this is a fucking
First
meet
love
cute
look.
first meeting across the. What is happening? What is
It's
happening?
ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And then she has an entire dinner with her where she's just like, I cannot believe that my ex-girlfriend is sitting across the table from me for the whole
Yes.
dinner. And
yes. Well, okay, wait. Sorry. Before the dinner, I have one other thing about the Joanna's beautiful hair blowing in the wind.
Entrance, yeah.
Do you remember the first thing Joanna says to her when she walks downstairs?
You're so beautiful.
For the full quote, yeah, she goes, "You are so beautiful. Do you know that I have waited so long for this moment?"
Oh
my
god.
We're keeping all of that.
Yeah.
Listen, in our rewrite, we're keeping all of that because that's gay as shit.
It's so gay.
Gay as shit
So
is
gay.
what that is.
And, like, you cannot pretend that you don't know her. She looks exactly the same. Like, I feel like they really tried to
So
make Kristen Bell, like,
ridiculous.
oh, she really was pretty ugly in high school. Like, she looks exactly the same.
I was having flashbacks when they tried to put them in high school. I was having flashbacks to, like, do you remember watching Dexter when they make him be a teenager by just giving him that terrible wig and like some acne, and he still looks like
a
Michael C. Hall.
Grown-ass man.
Yeah, he's a grown-ass man with like wrinkles and like age lines and like all this shit, but like with a terrible mullet
Like
wig.
Dear Evan Hansen, this shit.
Yeah, that's what I kept having flashbacks to. Is I'm like, what's happening right now? Are we supposed to believe that these are high school? Okay, I guess we're doing this.
Ridiculous.
It was so ridiculous. But yeah,
Yes.
so you can't even convincingly be like, maybe they look different.
No.
You literally used the same actors. So come on.
They look
Come on.
exactly the same. Like, exactly.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Insane.
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just like, if you look at it from a gay lens, right? There's like so many like twists and turns of like not even like there's like nothing that fucking happens in this film. Like it's like she meets her, she like realizes, oh, she actually does remember me. Like no shit.
Yeah.
And
we were all fooled.
yeah. Well, and that's the point that I'm trying to make too, of like, if the whole thing is about Joanna's redemption arc, she's a huge bitch.
Oh, she's terrible.
Like still.
She's terrible. And that's what I don't understand is like, it's not a believable redemption story because she's clearly still the worst. She actively avoids taking any responsibility for anything she did. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't even admit that she does remember for the longest time. Yeah. She is she does like the necklaces with the moo necklace,
like
and like puts it on her. She's the only bridesmaid that she puts it on. She's like, I'm gonna put Marnie's necklace on for her, and you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. And then they have this horrible cat fight after.
Yeah, like they have this huge fight. They're like throwing dishes at each other. I'm like, what is happening? Because Marnie exposes Joanna as the big bully that she is, but it is like literally this could have all been avoided if Joanna was actually a good person when Marnie came back and she apologized.
Right. Except
that was like That's why it was like literally like the stupidest movie to me.
Can I sorry, while we talk about the cat fight, can we discuss one other thing that we are keeping when we rewrite this movie?
Yes.
Okay, we are keeping the cat fight that includes the line, "Oh, Kitty likes to scratch."
Yes. that was so weird and I loved it. Yeah, that was
We're keeping
freaky.
that line. We might change the context it's used in, but
Yeah.
we'll keep
that's
that,
why
you know,
if you
that's a
made it
freebie.
oh my god, so freaky. If you kept it as like they're actually exes,
Yes.
I feel like it also
Which
makes,
is how I'm reading this in my head. I can't help it.
Yeah, it also makes like it just makes more sense. It feels like, okay, Marnie's in love with Joanna, so she's like, no way in hell I'm having my ex marry my brother. Because first of all, she's a piece of shit, but second of all, like if I can't
So
have her,
bad.
no one can have her, right? Like that
Yes.
makes sense to me. What happens makes no sense. She literally digs up a time capsule to play at her brother's wedding, ruins her brother's wedding because like she's so obsessed with Joanna, she cannot
Yeah.
help herself.
Dude, she invites the girl's ex-fiance to the wedding. Like it is rough always around. Everything about this is rough. And then there's just this weird anticlimactic, now you're sad and you apologized for being terrible. And so now we pivot from that to like, Marnie, will you walk me down the aisle? And I'm like, I mean, listen, if this is as close as we're going to get to the story that should be happening here,
It's fine.
I guess it's fine. But like, it would be the story we could write with the general layout of this and like the
Yes.
things that were all queued up, just sitting there waiting to be used well. The possibilities were endless and right in front of your faces. How do you drop the ball
How?
that badly?
And it is like even their like we're friends now conversation is so weird. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel genuine or real. And it's
No.
just like so just like squished together. I
It's
can't.
very weird. And it's very weird because, again, like, you're supposed to buy into being so sad for Joanna because her wedding got ruined and she's in love with Will. And I'm like, based on what? We've barely even seen you talk to Will.
Literally
Like,
nothing.
We watched you play a couple minutes of basketball one time through a window. That's about it. We haven't seen
literally
anything.
nothing.
This whole movie is
They
you and Marnie.
Yes, the entire movie is about Marnie and Joanna. And then two, the only other part that we see Will and Joanna together is when they fall out of the treehouse
Oh,
and break
God.
all of their arms. And then they're supposed to be like, oh, we both broke our arms, but we're together, so it's everything's okay. It's so
Oh, it's so
cheesy
bad.
and so unbelievable.
Okay, can we talk about Gail and Mona for
I
a
have
bit?
so much, honestly, I have so much for Gail and Mona. Because this is what I'm saying. Marnie and Joanna for me, like rewritten, yes. Gail and Mona
As
in
written.
it,
Yeah,
gay.
canon gay.
Like actually
canonically gay.
in the film was pretty gay. So when Ramona walks in that door, we get a flashback of Gail, right? To like the last time she saw Ramona, which is Gail's dancing with this boy and Ramona pushes her into the pool.
Oh, prom drama.
And like that's all we know. But I feel like there's like, I mean, we figure out that out later, like what happened. But their relationship is so much more intense and intimate because they're not enemies to lovers. They're best friends.
Best friends to enemies to lovers. I love it.
And that feels like the gayest of all.
Look, also, sorry, can we just hit the base highlights? Ramona, string of failed relationships, right?
Yep.
A lifetime of trying to make herself so successful, so impressive. Lifetime of building up this life to come back and shove it in Gail's face, being like, look at how good I look at how hot I am, look at all this French I speak. Ladies,
Yeah.
listen.
It is the most intense, like, I'm gonna get my ex back story I've ever
Yes.
seen.
Yes. It's
Like,
insane.
It is wild
It's
how
insane.
much tension is between these two women. So, like, I could not take my eyes off the Gail and Ramona stuff. Like, that anytime those 2 are in a scene together, I was like, those 2 have slept together. There's no doubt in
Listen,
my mind they have had many, many times in bed together.
the whole dance-off scene.
The
Like, I get
dance-off
that there's
scene.
also some Marty and Joanna happening there too, where I'm like, why do people think that this is something that girls do, where they just like
Have a
sexually
dance-off?
dance at each other aggressively? Like, that's
That's not
it's
not a
not
thing.
a thing. And
Not
I
a
love
thing.
that that scene, it's why, as much as I really disliked this movie, I'm so glad we're doing a Should Have Been Gay on it, because I'm like, come on, you're gonna write a scene in which you have 2 separate couples aggressive dancing at each other.
Yeah.
The classic gay move of film at the same time, like in one scene. You have like a double generation of this going on at once, and the men are all just like on the sidelines being like, awkward shuffle, and then the women are just like popping their chests at each other and shaking their asses at each other while maintaining fierce eye contact. And
So
I'm just
much
like,
eye
what is
contact.
happening right now? What is
So
happening?
much eye
But
contact.
especially Mona and Gail in that scene, I'm just like, holy God, what are you doing?
The
What
eye
is
contact
happening?
is so intense.
It's so
Everything
much.
between the 2 of them is so intense. Like, literally, they're constantly in competition with each other. And we find out that, like, Gail and Ramona, they've been friends since elementary school. Like, that shit went far. They were friends in elementary school. They were best friends in high school. And then they stopped being friends senior year of high school. So there are so many years between these 2 women that I just can't even imagine. And the reason that Ramona pushed Gail into the pool was because Gail was dancing with a boy she liked. If that's not like displacement,
Oh God.
I
Yeah.
do not know what is. Like, she's
This
like
is classic projection.
and when Gail is literally like, you never told me you even liked that boy. So I still think if you were best friends, you would have told her that you liked that boy. So you did not like that boy, and you're trying to play it off like, oh, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
the boy, and not the fact that Gail did not go to prom with you, Ramona.
Yeah, and because, so listen, they have this conversation when they fall into the pool again, back
And
in the
that
pool
scene
together.
is very sexy.
Yes. So they're in this pool together, like hashing out all of their feelings.
In 2 matching red dresses.
Oh my God, she shows up. She shows up in the matching dress. I cannot. I died. So they're in their matching dresses in the pool, and she's telling her all the reasons that she was so hurt in high school, and then she spent her whole life trying to like one up her and like become more and more impressive and all this stuff. Then they're laughing and hugging each other and telling each other how great they look, and they're happy and they're smiling and they're in the pool together, and the husband walks out and he just goes, "What is going on out here?" And you're like, an excellent question,
Literally,
sir. An
like,
excellent
if
question.
you did not walk in, they would have started making out. Like,
Yes.
that's what was, they were
Yes.
intertwined in the pool. Like, they were like holding each other.
That scene is like 3 seconds and Cosmo away from like an L word scene. Let's be real with ourselves.
Yes. 100,000%. Also, how old?
All
do
you
think-
need is like change the soundtrack slightly and you're already there.
Oh yeah, that was like I said, that was a sexy scene. They're like fighting, and then they're like, "I love you," and you're like, "What is happening here?"
Yeah.
And then we get Gail apologizing to her, blah blah blah. But her whole thing, Ramona's whole thing is like, basically they got to high school and then Gail started ignoring Ramona. That's basically what it is. She was like, "You stopped giving me attention." That happened to me a lot, honestly. I'm like, not even, but like, I know it was because I was gay, and I'm like, that's a classic move. Like, I was the Gail, but like not in the like Gail. Basically, like, you know, like I would be.
You stole the spot in the School Musical, Ellie. Is that what you're saying?
I would be obsessed with someone, like
Yeah.
obsessed. I would give them all my attention, right? And I would be like, yes, this is my person, and I'd give them, give. And then when I would like find a new person, I would give so much to that person, and the person who I just had given all my attention to would be so pissed because I was not giving them attention anymore. And I realized when I look back, that was a very like unhealthy gay pattern where I just was like, oh, I have a crush on this person. And then I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
actually, I don't really feel like I have a crush on them anymore. I have a crush on this person instead. And that's how gay friend breakups happen.
Yeah. Also, can we discuss the like urge to merginess of being like, musicals were my thing, and then she's like, it was our thing. What are you talking about? I'm like, that is a classic couple argument. Like, we've all had that argument, you know, where you're like, that's not even your thing, that's my thing, and you're like, no, it's our thing.
I thought it could be our thing together.
Together. We're
And
both into musicals. I'm into musicals because you're into musicals.
Poor Ramona didn't get on the cheerleading squad, but Gail was like Ramona's acting like Gail asked her to audition or to try out for the cheerleading squad to embarrass her. But
Yeah.
like, what if Gail was just like, I want to do cheerleading and I want my lesbian lover to be on the freaking team.
I want to be cheerleaders with my girlfriend. Come on. Everyone wants that.
There's so much to unpack with Gail and Ramona.
They're
like,
so gay.
You cannot have, I really truly believe, you cannot have that level of a friend breakup if there's not some gay shit underneath it. Obviously, there are friend breakups that like happen between straight people, but I swear to God, they're not that intense. Nobody is pushing someone into the pool. That's all I'm saying. Like, you have to have had some really
and then
intense...
jumping in with them in their matching dress and hugging it out a little. No,
you have to have had some really, really intense romantic sexual feelings to get to the point where like it explodes.
Yeah.
I just can't. I cannot.
And also then like carrying a torch about it for that
well
long.
How old are they? Like, how old are they in this film, do you think?
I mean, okay, I'm gonna say
50s.
Yeah, I mean, this was senior year of high school, so they were both like 18 when they had this falling out. I'm gonna say Will could maybe what are we supposed to buy? He's maybe 25. So yeah, I mean, if you had him young at the youngest, you're gonna be 50. So you've been carrying that torch for 32 years.
That is ex-girlfriend torch status.
You are still this emotional about it. That's an ex.
That's an ex.
Dude, that's a first love ex. That's a broke my heart. Ex. Yeah.
Also, like, isn't there a moment where like freaking Gail is staring at some old pictures of her and Ramona? Like, you know, we have there's like just like staring
longingly
at
looking at old
like,
photos.
Oh. And then she goes to apologize. Like, I also just feel like Gail and Ramona, like, there's more nuance to it because like it's not like, oh, I just always hated you. It's like, I loved you and then you stopped loving me, so I hated you.
Gay.
It's so gay.
Shit's gay right there.
So gay.
I wish what I want a backstory on Grandma Bunny and Helen. I don't know what the deal was.
What the hell is going on
with them, but I want it.
We need it.
I want the hot 1950s lesbian goss between them. That's what I want.
Also, like, has Jamie Lee Curtis ever played a lesbian? Because it doesn't seem right that she's
It seems
always
impossible
straight.
that she hasn't, right? Her and Sigourney Weaver, honestly.
It does not seem right. Because the two of them have so much chemistry, and I'm like, love Victor Garber, but like, he has no chemistry with, like,
it's why he's such a great, like, old, committed, married couple dad in these movies, you know? Because he's great at that role where you're like, I don't really need to buy your chemistry. You just seem like a pretty okay guy, you know?
Yeah. But like, there's like moments where he's supposed to be like, wow, Gail, you're so beautiful and amazing. And like, I just feel like there's way more chemistry between Sigourney and
for
Jamie.
sure.
But yeah, then we have Grandma Bunny and Helen. We don't get enough about them.
I know, I need more.
But clearly there's some like man stealing things, competitions between them. But that's the thing too, where I'm like, ugh, this movie is so male gazy.
It's like, incredibly male gazy.
All of their conflict has to do with men.
Yeah.
Really, right? Like, oh, Gail and Ramona hate each other because Gail stole Ramona's man. Like, that's clearly not the issue. And then Grandma Bunny feels the need to steal a man from Helen at the end to be like, in your face, Helen.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Well, and it's just, I mean, everything about all of them. For the men are like complete afterthoughts, but also you're supposed to buy into the men. Like, the men and the relationships with men are the entirety of like what drives this plot, you know?
Yep.
And it's just
exactly.
like,
Marnie cares about
done.
Joanna because of her brother. right?
Right.
Gail and Ramona care
She's
about
an idiot because of Charlie. Yeah,
Yep.
Gail and Ramona fought over a boy. I mean, it's just,
it's so dumb.
Well, and it's why it just falls flat, because it is very clearly trying to dig deeper into relationships between women in ways that it clearly is unable to do correctly. And so it just misunderstands everything about, like, start to finish, everything about all of these relationships, except for the parts that are incredibly gay, are just wrong. And that's why the end result of them is wrong, because I'm like, you didn't even realize how gay you wrote it, because you don't seem to actually understand how any of these relationships would look.
Work. Yeah.
You wouldn't know what this looks like. And so instead, you just wrote this male gazy, super gay thing.
So ridiculous. Should we talk a little bit about Kristen Chenoweth?
Kristen Chenoweth, and then we also need to talk about Joanna's little
minions.
Like, the minions.
Just the point that Kristen Chenoweth is in this film. She's just the gay icon. She flits around. Also, Tim, I feel like, gives me gay vibes. Like, he's her dancing instructor partner, and he's very in touch with his feelings. He just has a lot of emotions. A lot of
emotions, and he's a little confused, I think, about what relationships are. Yeah.
Very, very confused. So, I don't know.
Plus, okay, how classic is that? That, again, listen, just teeing up the gay tropes for us. It's like, who is this weird emotional man? And she's like, oh, I dated him in college, and we got engaged, and it was a mistake, but, like, now he can't let go. And you're like, gay.
This is gay.
Gay storyline. That's gay.
It's just gay.
It's like, oh, I almost married this man because I was running away from my feelings for Marnie in high school, and now he can't let go, and I'm super gay.
And I decided to displace my feelings with a brother again.
I mean, a classic Hollywood move, if we've ever seen one. It. Hey, Marnie, walk me down the aisle to marry your brother.
Ridiculous. I also just, like, in general, I just feel like it's not my choice of trope. Like, enemies to lovers can be my choice of trope, but, like, as long as they're not, like, super horrible to each other. Like, I cannot forgive, like, how horrifically Joanna treated Marnie.
Well,
like, I'm just
what's funny?
I can never have that turn into love.
You know when I would forgive it?
When?
If she was gay.
Yes.
I would forgive it if she was like, I'm sorry that I was an absolute monster from hell to you. I was in love with you and could not deal with my feelings. And then immediately every single queer person is just going to be like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. We forgive you. You were working through some shit.
I guess so, but also a part of me is like, you know what? That's fine, but Joanna's not going to date Marnie. Like, she can now, oh, sorry that you had to go through that to figure it out, but, like, she's going to date someone new. You know what I mean?
Better. It's why we all rooted against what's-her-face in Happiest Season.
Yeah, I mean, it just, like, I'm like, you put someone through that much pain, I just, like, have a hard time, like,
I mean,
like,
I get it, but I would forgive that a million times over the storyline that we are fed, which is just like, I was a giant bitch, and then my parents died, and now I'm not anymore, and I apologized while weeping in my wedding dress and squirting, like, spray cheese into my face.
Yeah.
And now we're best friends. And you're like, this is not how this works. This is not it. This is...
I'm not here for it. But yeah, do you want to talk about do you want to talk about the minions?
Okay, look, I just have one quick comment on the minions, which is like, I understand that this is actually a thing that, like, straight girls do, so fine, I will give it to you. But I'm sorry, how fucking gay is it when you show up and you're like, what day are you due? And they're both, like, at the exact same time, like, August 3rd or whatever they say, right?
Yeah.
They're, like, due on the same day, and she's like, oh, like, what a surprise. And they're like, I mean, we planned it that way. And I'm like, there is no mention of husbands, of boyfriends, of families, of anything. I'm just like, so you're gay and you wanted to have your babies at the same time, and that is the story as I am reading it right now. That's what happened.
I like that version of the story. Because, we did not see any of their husbands, partners, anything. So, yeah, they're just two wives who are pregnant together.
Who are pregnant together.
I didn't see that, but I can see it now.
I mean, listen, I don't suggest doing that. No relationship needs two
No,
pregnant
that
people in
sounds
it. I cannot
tough as
stress that
hell.
enough.
Yeah.
But I just felt like the setup of it was done weirdly. And again, men, what men? Are
What
there men
men?
in this movie?
No men. 0 men.
An afterthought.
Yeah. All right. So which characters are we shipping in this ridiculously gay generational trauma setup?
I know you're not a fan of Joanna, and I get it, but I still have to ship Marnie and Joanna.
I just can't. I can't ship them. But what's their ship name?
Joe Arnie.
Joarnie.
Marnana?
Moana.
Marnana. No, Moana. Yeah, I like Marnana.
Marnana. And I'm Gail Mona all the way.
Ugh, Gail Mona. Stop it.
I really would love to see a film where Sigourney Weaver and Jamie Lee Curtis are in love.
Okay.
They have good chemistry.
Wait, I have one other ship name to suggest to you. Rail.
Rail. Yes.
The thing that Ramona most badly wants to do to Gail.
And has done many
And has
times
done,
before.
but not since high school. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's
Their
been a
bodies have
while.
changed, Ellie. They need to get to know each other
It
again.
has been a while.
Okay, what about Bunny and Helen? Because come on, also their ship name would be Honey, and I'm here for it.
I am here for it. And to be fair, like they don't have as much like stuff going on there, so I feel like I can go for it because I'm like you didn't give me too much of the trauma, so I can fill in a few more fun things.
Incredible.
I had to look at this. Jamie Lee Curtis in 2019. Oh, she said she played her role as school principal in Spare Parts as a lesbian, but never considered her most iconic character's sexuality. That's it. So she has never played an actual queer character, and that's
really a shame. Plus, can we give like a shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis as a real life person who has a trans daughter and is like super supportive and vocal about it,
she's
and
a
just an
huge
icon, and we love
ally.
her.
Yeah.
Please make her gay in all of the things
No.
from here on out. Thanks.
And
That's all.
she's married to Christopher Guest, who like I am obsessed with anything that he's in. Best in Show, freaking all those things are so good. So they have the two of them are doing some great things, but I just want to see her play gay. She doesn't have to be gay, but please like give us playing gay. I want to see it.
We deserve that, I think.
If anyone finds a movie that Sigourney Weaver or Jamie Lee Curtis played a lesbian in,
oh my God, send them to us.
Send them to us. College films, short films they did in their youth. I don't know, but please, I need it. I need it.
I think the important thing is the only way that this would have been a salvageable movie is you again
should have been
gay.
All right, you ready for our Q and gay? Let's do this.
Q and gay.
All right, question number 1, Lee. What were you in high school? A, cheerleader, B, jock, or C, nerd?
I was for sure a nerd. Although I did do an awful lot of sports, but I don't think I could convincingly
Consider
call
yourself
myself
a
jock.
Yeah.
I did leave high school with like a lot of varsity letters though. So.
Also, why didn't you put like I feel like theater kid is its own thing, or is that just nerd?
Well, it's just because it wasn't really in the movie. I went with like the Joanna, Will, and Marnie.
All right.
Archetypes. So
I will also say nerd because definitely not cheerleader or jock.
Okay. Question 2, Ellie. Would you warn your sibling if their fiance was terrible? Yes or no?
All right.
It's hard. It's a hard question.
Honestly, that's a really hard question. Okay, if I was put into the situation that Marnie was put into, I would say something.
Yeah.
But I would try to say it in a diplomatic way. Like, I would not have done what Marnie did, which is like, let me humiliate everyone here.
Yeah.
But I probably would have pulled my brother aside and been like, hey, like, I'm sure she's a lot different now, but like, I at least need you to know that she bullied the shit out of me in high school. You make your own choices in life, but I need to get that off my chest before you marry her. And that way, like,
preferably not by video evidence at your rehearsal dinner, but yeah, sure, you put it out there.
That's what I would do. Things get real dicey when you try to like say anything about someone's partner, especially if they're about to get married. Like there's not a lot you could do at that point, I don't think.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 3. How would you let out your frustration at your high school bully? A, draw devil horns on their photo. B, TP at their house. C, learn French. Or D, invite their ex to their wedding.
Ooh, this one's hard. I feel like, I mean, listen, not in a exact way, but I'm still gonna say learn French because I feel like I tend to go more of a high roady approach.
A highbrow.
I'm just going to improve and better myself so that I am better than all of you, you know?
Yes.
I would go the leave town, forge a new and better life for yourself. Not speaking from experience or anything.
Shove it in their face.
And shove it in their faces.
Actually, that's got to be me too.
Plus, I already speak French, so I got a head start. You know,
I definitely am the like success spite. You know, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure the thing.
Question 4, Ellie: who was the worst in the movie? Who was the real villain here? A, Marnie. B, Joanna. C, Gail. Or D, Ramona.
This is just so obvious to me. It's B, Joanna. Like zero remorse, mean spirited, with like no reason to be. I just can't. That energy I cannot handle. I can't. What do you think?
I agree. Although I will also say Marnie does not do herself any favors in this movie either, though, because then you just come back and be the absolute worst yourself to point it out, and I'm like, there were so many ways around this. This was so avoidable.
And yet, to be fair, like most films, communication, like if people just talk to each other, the movie wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of the point of like, let's do a movie where no one says what they mean. Ha ha ha. Yeah. But no, not about it. All right, question number 5. Did you ever have a friend breakup in high school? A, yes, or B, no?
You know, I did, but this speaks exactly to the points that we've been making. I did have like a falling out with my best friend in high school, and then like within however many months that we like
you started dating,
talked it.
Sorry,
I'm going in the exact opposite direction. We like talked it out and like worked through our shit and like went back to being friends. Right?
Okay.
And it's like, and it wasn't a huge deal because it was just like stupid high school drama stuff like with girls and feelings and whatever. And it wasn't, I am in love with you and we are like having this kind of like pseudo relationship breakup because we weren't in one. Because we weren't doing that. Like,
no.
What? It's not, that's what that looks like. It doesn't look the way that they did this because what they did is exes. So I had a friend breakup with not my ex, with just a friend, and then we like made up and were friends again. Like normal friends could do, you know?
Yeah. No, I had constant gay friend breakups because I was friend dating so many people. It's tough. I couldn't juggle them.
See, this is the problem is I actually came out in high school, so I was just dating.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped with that.
I think for sure that helps. But like when you're dating your friends, you can only date one of them at a time. So you can't have multiple friends on the same level.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And
so there's literally...
For sure, that is why that is not how I would describe like my fight with my friend. Yeah, not the same thing.
No. I had one friend breakup that was not gay, and that's the bully that I will not let near me ever again. So that was just like, wow, you're a bad person and I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Other than that, they were very much gay breakups. Yeah.
Live and learn, Ellie. Live and learn.
Tough to, I know. Now I have so many more friends because I just am friends with them. Wild concept. I used to literally constantly say before I came out, I was like, yeah, I just think like I'm a one friend kind of person, you know? Like I just like to have like one really close friend. And that's just like how it is, you know?
Listeners, if that feels relatable to you,
you're probably
we
gay.
Have some news.
Yeah. You're probably gay. But yeah, that's our Q&A. If you want to tell us about your friend breakups, you can answer our Q&A questions on our Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod.
Let me hear you say, hip, 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 we're gay.
We love hearing from you and building community, so we want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. If any of you have been following our Instagram account, Kristen runs most of our social media accounts. So I want to give, first of all, a big shout out to Kristen for posting the most hilarious highlight reel, which was a bunch of different characters forehead touching, just to prove our point that yes, Melanie, your forehead touch is gay. And thank you to everyone who responded, because we had such a great response. So many of you were commenting this forehead touch, this forehead touch. And so it was so fun to see all of them next to each other. So thank you to everyone who commented on our Instagram story. You can check out that highlight on our actual Instagram account at Let's Hang Out Pod. I was having the best time looking at all of the responses. So thank you for that. As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Jess Klaus,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jacqueline Rose Nishino,
Sarah and Julia,
Danny Gunlock Tamura,
Brittany Ray,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Stacy,
Adi Benitez,
Fiona W.,
Whitney Lennon,
and Jennifer Trujillo,
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Leah Hendley,
Liz Chen,
Julia Gonzalez,
and Ashley White. Thank you all so much for all your support. We could not do this show without you.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
Also, make sure that you have listened to all of the episodes of The Flame. It is available on any podcasting app. And if you want to follow our social media accounts for our new production company, where we will be talking about all of the updates for The Flame and Journey to the Heart and any other new shows down the road, we are at $beanprod on all of the things.
We are also putting videos up on our YouTube channel, just smaller clips of each of our episodes so you can see our faces and our lovely guests' faces. Make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
If you want to help support the podcast, the fastest and easiest way to do that is to go on the Apple Podcasts app, leave us a rating and a review. It helps new people find the podcast.
If you want to support us, you can support us on Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon. You'll join our Patreon family, get access to our Discord chat, L'Essentials viewing parties, and all kinds of fun extra perks.
And if you want to help support us making all of our musical podcasts and getting The Flame up on stage, you can find the Patreon for that at bit.ly/theflamepatreon.
If you want some Let's Hang Out merch, you can get that at bit.ly/lesshop. We have all kinds of shirts and tanks and totes to show off your $1 bean pride.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.